Restaurant Morning Show.
Good morning.
Hey, we've only got a few more weeks left in the year.
Wow, it's sneaking up on us.
It is. It really is. And did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking. Yeah, the family was there, and it was wonderful. And ate too much food, and my football team lost. How about you?
Yeah. Well, I don't even have a football team anymore, so it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. You don't have a quarterback.
No, well, yeah. I don't have a football team.
No, you don't.
No,
You don't.
No.
That's okay. Well, good morning.
Yeah. Hey, the Restaurant Morning Show. Cheers, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our mugs, the Restaurant Morning Show.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff.
I love it.
All right.
Yeah. So, what do we got going on today?
Well, the main topic I want is because it's hitting home for us,
right?
And that's looking for an additional site to grow our company. But I think that before we get into that, we always have headlines that we want to talk about. And why don't you hit us with the headline?
Yeah, there's a lot going on in our industry, and
there sure is.
Some positive, some negative. You know, the bankruptcies are still kind of being talked about. In fact, we had a local restaurant that we'll touch bases on later. But what caught my eye this morning was an article in Nation's Restaurant News by Alicia Kelso, and she contributes to them often. And she was talking about catering, which again hits close to home because we are in the process of rolling out and developing a catering program. And how, you know, with elevated food costs, we haven't seen them as high as we ever have, and elevated labor costs, which are not going down, the margins already traditionally low in our business are even lower. And how do you impact that? And catering can be a possible way to impact that. Yeah, you can cook food to be picked up or delivered. Your labor is not as much.
Sure.
Maybe while your restaurant's closed, you've got sales coming in, especially, you know, like us, a dinner-only restaurant. You know, many places are facing additional debt along with those higher costs. She wrote in there that catering has outpaced the industry growth by 50%.
I saw that.
Which it seems like a no-brainer.
Right.
But it's got to be done right. You know, how do you grow sales? We've talked about that before. You can either increase your traffic, increase your prices, which you have to do sometimes, increase your number of visits, or develop a new revenue stream.
Revenue streams.
And that
alternative revenue streams
is catering.
Yeah.
You've already got the food in your building.
Right.
You've got the staff. Now, it has to be done right. And she said that there can be some downfalls if it's not done right. So many people are doing it, but it has to be marketed correctly and executed correctly, and there has to be a point of differentiation. We talked about that before, whether it's your plate in front of your guest, how you deliver that food, how it's perceived, the packaging, and then again, who's marketing in your area, or who's catering in your area, and what's going to make that guest go to your website. And it has to be easy for the guest.
Yep.
So, yeah, catering can be a big piece. Got to be done right. You can't just snap your fingers and make it happen.
Right. But you know, kind of, and all of those are really good points.
Yeah.
So, what I want to bring up, and it was in the newspaper today, and just because of where we live in Volusia County, and it says, "We are forever grateful. Ormond Beach Restaurant and Bar permanently closes," and it was Del Mar Italian Chop House, which prior to that, and kind of why it hits home to me also, is because they took over a Bonefish Grill. And I don't know why Bonefish left that location, but Del Mar, they closed, and the things that they cite in the article, and then I never went there, but it's challenges for U.S. independent restaurants. Number one, the economic pressures. When you talk about the catering, the rising costs. I mean, food costs are up 40 to 45%. Then you take labor costs; they're up 30 to 35%. Then rent and insurance, all have gone up. And then you take consumer behavior. They're changing their discretionary spending because of the economic uncertainties leading up to the election. Then you have operational challenges, you know, debt burdens. Like you mentioned, many restaurants have taken on debt and they can't pay that debt. And I will tell you that there are predatory lenders out there. We have Toast, and I looked into Toast financing. It's at fucking like 26%.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's not sustainable for many
it's
independents.
not. So, but anyway, another restaurant in Ormond Beach closed, but then it also said 9 more have opened in Volusia County. So for everyone that closes, one opens.
You and I have talked about it's a myriad of reasons why restaurants close.
Sure.
It can be a poor location or a location that was great that the demographic has changed over time. But it can also be poor operations. Yeah. And you can have a great concept in a great space with poor leadership. And I'm not saying that happened to these guys because they are local entrepreneurs and they have another restaurant in the area
very successful.
That's very successful. But this one was completely different from what they normally do on a day-to-day basis. So who knows what the reasons were? It was mixed feedback from guests that I had spoken to that had gone there, and I'm sure they'll continue to be very successful with their other concept. And then we'll see what goes into that building.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be something else there soon.
There will.
Yeah.
So anyway, the main topic today is selecting the right site for a restaurant. And you gotta, go back. I mean, when we worked for Outback and Bonefish, they have people that they hire to do that.
Teams,
but as a budding entrepreneur or us, when we opened our second location, I was so excited to be in the location that we're at. But all the factors that need to go into looking at a location, one, doing a strategic analysis. How much foot traffic? Is there parking? Right? Are you close to a mall or an outdoor? I think malls are dead, right? So that's not a good place to be.
And it also depends on your concept. Are you heavy lunch? Then you maybe want to be in a business area.
Sure.
Where there's a lot of office buildings.
Right.
Or you heavy dinner. Well, then you probably want to be around the rooftop.
Sure.
Right. So many things go into determining where that goes.
Yeah.
And haven't the strategies changed since back in kind of our day? We're getting older now,
right,
but with OSI as a concept, they purposely went to B and C locations
because they were such a hot concept.
They were such a hot concept that they could go around the corner from First and Main and still be busy.
I think that's changed.
And I think it's changed. I think you have to be visible. You can't be buried behind something that you can't see from the street. And so many things go into it. Demographics we look at.
Yeah.
Average household incomes.
Yeah. But you have to know what your brand is. You have to know who your ideal customer is, and then your avatar.
We talked about that before.
Yeah, we sure have. We sure have. So what do you have some like tips there for a budding entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, certainly understanding your avatar first, right? And understanding your brand, and that's going to determine where you want to go. And are you a daytime concept? Are you a nighttime concept? Are you trying to blend both of those? Does an end cap and a strip mall work for you? Do you need drive-through space? Again, do you need a patio? We talked about.
Right.
So just all of these things, and I would say if you haven't done it before, probably get some support.
Yeah.
Get some professional support.
Yeah.
Because there's guys out there that do this for you. And then they'll take over the negotiations as well, which, I'm an operator of a restaurant. I'm not a realtor negotiator. So finding support in areas that I don't thrive at are critical.
And it's called a tenant rep on the real estate side. So they represent the tenant versus the landlord. So, all good information. Anything else you have there?
Yeah, again, we talk about accessibility, we talk about create a risk preparedness plan. You've got to think worst case scenarios, right? Everybody goes into it going, this thing is going to crush. We're going to be so busy. We hope for the best, plan for the worst. And so just protect yourself, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to be, based on a lot of articles that I've read, some things that consultants are saying is that there's going to be a lot of second-gen restaurants that come available in the next 6 to 8 months. So there will be opportunities out there.
We've touched on that. Yeah, the COVID money is running out.
Yes.
And
the rising cost and the amount of independent restaurant owners that do not know their numbers.
Right.
And One of my friends sent me a TikTok thing today about a guy in California, a millionaire who has 8 restaurants. He said, you have to know your numbers. And he goes, I'm just going to break it down for you. 30%, that's your food cost. 30%, that's your labor cost, all in. So that's 60% right there. And then your operational cost, 20%. So that leaves a 20% profitability. And I can tell you that if you do not hit a 61% or less for your labor and your food costs, you are not going to make money.
Yeah.
And we've seen it in our own business.
We have seen it.
Yeah. Got to know your numbers.
Yeah, nobody gets into this business to break even.
No.
And we're working too hard. And all these independent operators out there are working too hard to break even or 1 or 2%.
And we always mention a product at the end of the restaurant show. And this,
what do we got today?
Well, this is my webcam.
Okay.
And it's just a Logitech webcam. This is what I use for all of our Zoom calls. So when we have our calls with our team, I'm always on this camera. And by the way, I think this is the best camera. Just letting you know.
What makes you look good?
It does make me look good. But this is what we started.
But
this is what we started our. It's as much better. This is what we started our podcast, Grapes and Debates, with this camera.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, look where we've come.
Look where we've come. And I just want to, since we're doing a recap or a recap of all the products that we have had.
As we get close to the end of the year, sure.
Yeah, the mushroom coffee.
Yeah.
This is awesome stuff.
That was a pleasant surprise for me.
No, I like that.
It was a pleasant surprise.
The other one in the afternoon, Alpha Brain.
When you start to fade a little bit.
When you start to fade.
Get a little foggy.
Yep. I also mentioned the Aura Ring. I love the Aura Ring.
Did.
It's awesome. And
there might be one under my tree this year.
There should be. Yeah. Capcut, which is a video editing program. I use that.
You love.
I love it every day. And then the Logitech webcam. This is awesome. I mean,
easy to use.
Easy to use, and for us, we meet with our team every single Tuesday, and our leadership team. And I just think that the webcam is a great tool for us meeting with our team.
Okay.
So that's
Thanks,
it.
Logi.
Logi.
Thanks.
Yeah, man. So let's get after it this week.
Happy morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.